There's a kind of man whose presence alone makes a woman feel something she can't explain. He doesn't flirt loudly. He doesn't chase. He doesn't fill silence with small talk or try to prove his worth. Instead, he moves with a calm, grounded energy that says everything words could never say. He's composed, still, quietly confident. And without even realizing it, she starts leaning toward him. Not because of what he says, but because of what he doesn't. In a world where everyone is performing, silence becomes power. Most men think attraction is built through effort, compliments, conversation, constant validation. But the truth is, women are not drawn to words. They're drawn to energy. When a man can stand in silence and still project certainty, it signals something rare: self-control. His stillness tells her, "I don't need to impress you, because I'm already complete." And that unspoken message pierces deeper than any line ever could. The silent man doesn't rush connection. He doesn't need to convince her that he's worthy. His presence speaks in subtler ways. The calmness in his eyes, the steadiness in his breath, the unhurried rhythm in how he moves. While other men chase reactions, he cultivates gravity. His silence becomes the contrast that her mind can't ignore. She starts wondering what he's thinking, why he's so composed, why she feels more alive in his quiet than in another man's loud attention. That curiosity becomes attraction, and that attraction becomes desire. Because what a woman truly wants is not a man who can talk endlessly about himself. It's a man whose silence feels safe, mysterious, and magnetic. She wants to feel something in his presence that she can't fully control, an emotional pull that doesn't beg to be understood. And the man who knows how to use silence understands that attraction isn't about adding energy. It's about withholding it until it carries weight. In that stillness lies authority. In that restraint lies respect. And in that calm confidence lies the unspoken truth of masculine power. The less you try to be desired, the more desirable you become. In this video, we'll reveal the silent way to make her want you, without chasing, without talking, and without losing your center. You'll learn how to use calm energy, grounded presence, and emotional control to create an aura she can feel long before you speak. Because real attraction doesn't begin with words. It begins with energy she can't ignore. Before we start, remember, if you're ready to master yourself in the dating game, my full course is waiting at the stoiccouple.podia.com site. Join once and you're in for life, with lifetime access to every future lessons, series, and books. Start your journey now, because growth doesn't wait. Let's dive in. Section 1. The Power of Presence. How silence speaks louder than words. When a man enters a room and says nothing, yet everyone feels him, that's presence. It's not arrogance and it's not dominance, it's awareness. Presence is what happens when your body is still, your mind is clear, and your energy is rooted in purpose. It's the quiet signal that says, "I know who I am, and I don't need noise to prove it." Women can sense that instantly. They don't fall for the man who talks the most. They fall for the one whose silence feels intentional. The reason silence is so powerful is that it creates space. And in that space, a woman's imagination awakens. When you speak less, she listens more. When you move slower, she pays attention. When you hold your ground calmly, her emotions rise to meet your stillness. It's human psychology. The mind values what it can't immediately understand. The moment you stop trying to impress, you become something she has to figure out. Presence begins inside you. It's not about posturing or pretending to be mysterious. It's about being grounded in your own energy. Most men lose presence because they live externally, reacting to messages, chasing validation, seeking approval. Their energy leaks through constant noise. But a man who practices stillness, through solitude, focus, And discipline builds gravity. His silence becomes dense with meaning. His eyes communicate clarity. His posture speaks intention. Without uttering a word, he projects, "I'm not waiting for anyone to give me permission to exist." Women are deeply intuitive. They can feel when a man's calm is genuine and when it's a mask. True presence is never about ignoring. It's about observing. You don't withdraw from her. You simply refuse to abandon yourself. You're not silent because you have nothing to say. You're silent because you don't waste words when energy says more. That difference is magnetic. It draws her in because it feels safe, steady, and rare. Think of it this way. Words stimulate, but silence captivates. The more you explain, the more predictable you become. The more you observe, the more powerful your image grows. Every pause, every unhurried glance, every subtle movement carries meaning. In your quiet, she senses strength. In your restraint, she senses certainty. Presence is not built in moments of attention. It's built in moments of solitude. It's the outcome of a man who's comfortable in his own company, who doesn't fear silence because he's learned to hear himself within it. When that man meets a woman, his energy doesn't beg, it invites. His calm doesn't intimidate, it intrigues. His silence doesn't distance, it deepens the connection in a way words never could. Because the truth is simple. The man who controls his energy doesn't need to control the conversation. His stillness speaks for him. And when a woman feels that kind of presence, she doesn't just notice him, she remembers him. Section 2. Energetic contrast. Why your stillness triggers her curiosity. Attraction doesn't begin with beauty, it begins with contrast. When everything around her is loud, your silence becomes the most powerful sound in the room. When most men chase attention, your calm detachment feels like gravity. That's the paradox of energy. People are drawn not to what's available, but to what's composed. A woman's curiosity doesn't ignite because you talk more. It ignites because your stillness gives her space to feel something different. This is what energetic contrast really means. Every interaction carries frequency. Some men bring chaos, fast talk, restless gestures, anxious humor. Others bring peace, measured pauses, controlled tone, unwavering eye contact. The human nervous system naturally gravitates toward regulation. So when a woman encounters a man whose energy doesn't demand but commands, she feels the difference instantly. Her body relaxes while her mind awakens. That duality, safety and curiosity, is what creates true attraction. Your stillness reflects mastery. It shows you're not emotionally hijacked by her reactions. When she tests your calm or teases your silence, she's not doing it to push you away. She's doing it to see if your peace is real. Women subconsciously test a man's center to find his depth. If your mood shifts easily, she senses instability. But if your energy remains unshaken, she senses leadership. She begins to realize she can't move you, she can only meet you. That realization transforms curiosity into respect, and respect into desire. The masculine and feminine are designed to dance in polarity. Her emotional flow thrives when it meets your grounded direction. That's why stillness doesn't repel. It creates charge. Your silence invites her energy to flow toward it. The more you hold space without filling it, the more she leans in. That's the essence of attraction. She feels pulled, not persuaded. Most men misunderstand this and think silence means doing nothing. But stillness is not passivity. It's intentional control. You're fully aware, fully engaged, but you choose your timing carefully. You let pauses breathe. You let her words linger. You observe before you act. This slow rhythm unsettles her. In the best way, it breaks her pattern of emotional predictability and makes her feel something she can't label. That's the psychological spark of curiosity. the space between what she sees and what she can't quite define. When your energy contrasts hers, you become unforgettable. Not because you tried to stand out, but because you didn't compete with the noise. She'll think about you later, the way your eyes stayed calm, the way your silence made her feel exposed yet safe, the way you seemed present but untouchable. That's what she replays. And that's the secret. Your stillness becomes her storm. Your silence becomes her soundtrack. Because what truly captures a woman's attention isn't your voice, it's your vibration. Section 3. The psychology of nonverbal attraction. When energy speaks before words. Before a man ever says a word, his energy has already spoken for him. The way he stands, the rhythm of his breath, the direction of his gaze, all of it communicates long before his mouth opens. And in that silent space, a woman reads everything. She doesn't need to hear your story. She feels your state. She can sense if you're needy or secure, restless or centered, performing or simply being. That's the psychology of nonverbal attraction. It's not what you say that matters. It's what your energy reveals. Humans are wired for emotional detection, especially women whose intuitive sensitivity evolved through connection and empathy. When she's near you, her nervous system synchronizes with yours. If your energy is chaotic, hers rises in defense. But if yours is steady, her body unconsciously relaxes. That physical calmness translates into emotional trust, and that trust becomes attraction. It's not a conscious choice, it's instinct. She feels pulled toward the frequency of a man who doesn't need to prove his worth, because that energy feels like home. That's why confidence can't be faked. You can say the right words, wear the right clothes, even mimic confidence, but if your inner energy is uncertain, she'll feel it instantly. True confidence isn't a look, it's a vibration. It's what happens when your internal world is quiet enough that your presence carries no tension. You don't need to fill silences, over-explain, or force reactions. You trust that your stillness will do the work for you. The strongest energy always leads. When a man's energy is calm and composed, he sets the tone for the entire interaction. His body language speaks in subtle cues. The way he holds eye contact without needing to dominate. The way he gestures slowly. The way he listens more than he talks. Every movement communicates discipline. Every pause communicates patience. And that patience tells her something primal. This man doesn't rush desire because he knows he creates it. That's where nonverbal attraction becomes powerful. It removes effort. The woman starts responding not to what you do, but to who you are. She begins mirroring your calm, softening her tone, slowing her speech. Her nervous system adapts to yours because she feels anchored in your presence. That's how masculine energy naturally influences feminine energy. Not through force, but through emotional leadership. Words can lie, but energy never does. A man's silence, when backed by emotional control, communicates more than 1,000 compliments. It tells her, I don't need you to complete me. I'm already whole. And that message, even when unspoken, touches something ancient within her. It makes her feel safe, seen, and intrigued all at once. Because real attraction doesn't start with conversation, it starts with calibration. Before the mind understands it, the body already knows. This man carries peace, and peace, when worn by a man, is the loudest language of all. Section 4. Controlled mystery. How to be felt without chasing. Mystery is not about pretending to be distant, it's about being disciplined with what you reveal. The man who is felt without trying doesn't disappear. He simply doesn't overexpose himself. He understands that attraction lives in curiosity, And curiosity only exists when there is something left to wonder about. His silence isn't absence, it's design. Every pause, every delayed response, every calm withdrawal serves one purpose: to remind her that his energy is not something to be consumed, it's something to be earned. Controlled mystery begins with emotional restraint. When you stop giving everything away, your feelings, your plans, your availability, you create space for imagination to work in your favor. A woman's mind naturally fills that space with questions. Where is he? What is he thinking? Why isn't he trying like everyone else? Those questions are not signs of confusion. They're signs of fascination. The man who knows how to manage access to his presence never has to chase. His energy pulls effortlessly. This doesn't mean playing games. Manipulation repels the same way honesty attracts. But it means understanding the value of subtlety. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you reveal less, your moments of openness become rare and meaningful. When you move with calm predictability, you invite her to move around your stillness, to fill the emotional gaps with her own curiosity. That's how mystery becomes magnetic. Controlled mystery is born from abundance, not fear. The insecure man hides to protect himself. The grounded man reveals selectively to protect his energy. He knows his peace is valuable. He knows that what makes him intriguing isn't what he says. It's what he withholds. And he understands that his mystery isn't about being unreadable, it's about being unshakable. A man who knows himself deeply doesn't need to broadcast it. His quiet confidence becomes his signature. His silence becomes his statement. Women respond powerfully to this because mystery ignites emotion. When she can't predict your every move, her attention heightens. When she doesn't know if you'll reply right away, her anticipation grows. When you don't rush to fill every silence, she begins to fill it with emotion. That emotional buildup is attraction. It's the spark that turns comfort into desire. A mysterious man doesn't chase validation. He chooses presence. He's not loud. He's layered. His calm makes her want to know what's beneath it. His control makes her imagine what he feels but doesn't express. That's what creates the magnetic pull, the tension between what she sees and what she senses. In the end, the art of being felt without chasing is not about withholding affection. It's about mastering access. It's about letting her earn pieces of you slowly, so that every encounter feels valuable. Because when everything is shown, nothing is special. But when your energy carries mystery, even your silence becomes unforgettable. Section 5. Emotional leadership, the calm that makes her surrender. Every relationship, spoken or unspoken, moves according to energy. The feminine seeks direction, while the masculine provides stability. This isn't about dominance, it's about balance. A woman feels safe enough to soften only when she senses emotional leadership in a man, when his calm presence steadies her storm instead of joining it. That calm is not silence for silence's sake. It's guidance. It's a man saying through his energy, "You don't have to lose control, because I won't." Emotional leadership begins when you stop reacting. The average man mirrors a woman's mood. If she's anxious, he becomes tense. If she's distant, he becomes desperate. But the Stoic man understands that emotions are invitations, not commands. He doesn't match her instability. He anchors it. When she tests his patience, he remains composed. When she withdraws, he doesn't chase. He observes. When she pushes, he doesn't push back. He steps aside. That quiet restraint communicates one powerful truth. My peace is not negotiable. And that truth changes her behavior. Because once a woman realizes that a man cannot be emotionally manipulated, she begins to trust him. She starts to relax into his steadiness. His calm becomes her cue to release her tension. Her feminine energy naturally responds to his grounded state. It feels like safety, like gravity. like leadership without words. That's the energy that makes her surrender, not through control, but through trust. A man's emotional leadership isn't about suppressing feeling. It's about mastering it. He can feel deeply, but he doesn't drown in it. He can love fiercely, but he doesn't lose himself in it. He knows that emotion is powerful only when guided by intention. That's what separates masculine composure from emotional chaos. Discipline. His silence isn't coldness, it's awareness. He's always reading the moment, sensing the tone, and choosing the response that keeps balance, not drama. When a woman encounters this kind of presence, it disarms her. She realizes she can no longer use emotion to control the dynamic because he doesn't react. He leads. He guides her energy without speaking. He knows when to step forward and when to step back. His calm becomes contagious, reshaping the rhythm of the connection until her intensity softens into openness. That's what makes emotional leadership so powerful. It transforms attraction into respect, and respect into surrender. She no longer wants to challenge him. She wants to align with him. Not because he demanded it, but because his presence naturally commands it. His silence becomes a mirror that reflects her emotions back to her, showing her what peace truly feels like. The man who can lead emotionally doesn't chase control. He creates harmony. He doesn't win arguments. He neutralizes them. He doesn't prove strength. He embodies it. And that embodiment makes her want to follow, not out of submission, but out of trust. Because when your calm leads the connection, her heart doesn't resist. It rests. Section 6. The magnetic balance. When peace and desire coexist. A man's greatest power lies not in his words, but in his ability to carry both peace and desire in the same breath. Most men lean too far in one direction. They're either calm but cold, or passionate but chaotic. True attraction, however, lives in the balance between those two energies. It's when your peace doesn't kill her excitement, and your passion doesn't disturb your composure. When a woman feels that duality, a man who's gentle yet powerful, still yet alive, she doesn't just want to be near him, she feels drawn to him. Peace without polarity feels safe but uninspiring. Desire without discipline feels thrilling but unstable. But when a man can merge the two, when he can hold her with stillness and ignite her with energy, he becomes unforgettable. That's the magnetic balance women crave but rarely find. A man who feels like calm water with fire beneath the surface. His eyes don't shout. They pull. His tone doesn't demand. It invites. His energy doesn't rush. It radiates. This balance isn't something you perform. It's something you cultivate. It comes from emotional control, self-awareness, and the absence of need. When you no longer seek validation, your presence relaxes. When you stop fearing loss, your desire becomes pure. You're no longer trying to get something. You're simply allowing connection to unfold on your terms. That's when your masculine energy becomes magnetic instead of manipulative. A woman feels this instantly. She can sense when your attention is coming from abundance, not hunger. She can tell when you're calm, not because you're detached, but because you're grounded. In that calm, she feels safe enough to express her emotions. In that quiet intensity, she feels desired without being objectified. That paradox, being both seen and respected, is what awakens her feminine instinct to connect more deeply. The magnetic man doesn't chase excitement. He creates it through energy control. He doesn't raise his voice to prove confidence. His composure is confidence. He doesn't move fast to impress. He moves with purpose. Every gesture feels deliberate. Every silence feels charged. And that balance between restraint and passion gives his presence a rare gravity, one that keeps her thinking about him long after he's gone. When peace and desire coexist, the connection shifts from ordinary to spiritual. It stops being a game of attention and becomes a dance of energy. She no longer feels like she's chasing your interest. She feels like she's orbiting your calm. And that's where obsession begins. Not in chaos, but in contrast. Because when your peace carries passion, and your passion moves with purpose, you become both mystery and meaning. You become the man who doesn't need to speak for her to feel everything. That's the magnetic balance of the Stoic man. His silence excites, his calm seduces, and his presence stays long after the moment ends. In the end, attraction was never about what you said. It was about what your silence revealed. Words can impress, but energy imprints. The man who learns to communicate through calm, through stillness, through controlled presence, carries a kind of power that can't be taught in conversations or measured in charm. It's a power that's felt, subtle, quiet, unbreakable. A woman may be drawn to a man's looks or confidence at first, but what keeps her thinking, what lingers long after the moment ends, is his vibration. The way he stands firm in silence, the way he doesn't rush to fill the air with nervous noise, the way his eyes hold peace instead of pleading. That is where attraction matures, where curiosity turns into reverence and desire turns into memory. Because the truth is simple. The most powerful men don't need to prove they're powerful. They don't seek validation, and they don't compete for attention. They carry a frequency that demands both. Their silence is not absence, it's awareness. Their restraint is not rejection, it's control. They move slower, speak softer, feel deeper. They don't react, they respond. And that difference creates a gravitational pull stronger than any tactic or line could ever achieve. Every great connection starts in energy before it ever becomes emotion. And when your energy speaks louder than your words, you stop needing to chase what's already moving toward you. That's when attraction ceases to be a game, it becomes a reflection. She's no longer drawn to the version of you that seeks approval. She's drawn to the version of you that commands it by existing in alignment. So understand this, your silence is not your weakness, it's your weapon. Your calm is not distance, it's dominance. The more you master yourself, the less you have to say. The less you chase, the more you attract. Because presence is louder than pursuit, and peace is more seductive than pressure. The man who embodies stillness doesn't win women, he transforms them. His energy invites them to feel deeper, to question more, to soften where they once resisted. That's why the silent man always leaves a mark. Not because he forced himself into her story, but because he became part of her emotional landscape. She may not remember the details, but she'll remember the feeling, the calm that silenced her mind, and the mystery that stirred her heart. That's what it means to influence without speaking, to attract without effort, to lead without noise. So when you walk away, do it with composure. When you enter a room, do it with awareness. And when you choose silence, let it be the kind that echoes. Because in a world addicted to attention, the man who speaks less, but means more, will always be the one she can't forget.